Live.
We are live.
Are we live?
We are live.
Really live?
We are live.
Are we really live?
We're super live.
That's not what the crowd is telling me here on my phone.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're wrong.
Yeah, are we live, Marcus?
The video popped up. Oh, now I see you. We're good.
Am I here?
We're live.
All right, folks. I guess I'm here. Thanks for joining another episode of Elk Talk Live. We are live. We just sorted that out. This is a Q&A session, question and answer for those of you who grew up in the sticks like I did, who wondered what Q&A meant. And this is brought to you, I think we're on episode number 10, maybe 11, I don't know. But this is a product of Bowtech, Leupold, Ripcord, Tight Spot Quivers, Black Gold Sights, and the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. So if you want to be in on some of the coolest drawings you're ever going to get a chance to be in on, starting, we haven't yet decided when, you're going to want to send a text Randy, R-A-N-D-Y, to 313131 and share it with your friends. Please share it with your friends. So, got a few questions that we're going to start with from last week. I think Preston had this one. I'm entirely a rifle elk hunter, and I wanted to know if you ever do any snow tracking for elk. I hunt an area that has limited openings, and the elk seem to stick to the timber for most of the day, so tracking is my go-to method if snow allows. I used to do it a lot. Growing up as a whitetail hunter in the big woods of the upper Midwest, I used to love a fresh snow and get on a track, and I still like to do it with elk. The hard part is when we do it with cameras and such, you're really not going to get much footage. So as much as I like to do it for producing TV, producing video on YouTube, it just doesn't work for us. If you're in a spot where elk densities are low and they're in big, vast tracts of dark timber, which that's usually going to be a low density elk area, you can be pretty successful by getting on a fresh track and tracking them down. Your shots are usually going to be really close. Your encounters are going to be really close. But for me, for TV, for the visual media that we use, we need to have more open areas, and I also find more elk in those open areas. So, what size spotting scope do you prefer to use while hunting? Do you have a truck scope and a pack scope? Yes, I do. I think I have every gold ring spotting scope that Leupold makes. My go-to scope that I have in my pack all the time is my 60 millimeter gold ring. My truck scope, my big one, is my 80 millimeter. What's the coldest elk hunt you have been on, and were you successful? I've been on some elk hunts that were unsuccessful, that were 25, 30 below. The coldest one I've ever been on where I was successful, I think if you go to our YouTube channel and look at season 4 of On Your Own Adventures, I had a Wyoming elk hunt. It was cold, cold, cold. I think one night it got down to 18, 19 below, something like that, and I did shoot a bull. So the category or the caveat that it's got to be that I was successful on, that would be it. Hey Randy, what broadhead are you using now for elk, and what's the poundage of your Bowtech? So right here, I have, all of you know that I'm shooting the new Rain 7 this year, and this one here is set for 60 pounds. And a lot of people say, well, 60 pounds, Randy, come on. When you got a bum wrist and a bum shoulder, 60 pounds is more than adequate. And my gear is always way better than I am. You ask me what broadheads I use. I've always used these Magnus Stingers. But this year I'm trying this new one, and it's working out really good. You'll notice they're both fixed blades. This one is they're both 125 grain. This is a Whack-'em. I like how it's shooting. It shoots almost identical to my field points. And I've had really good luck with the Magnus Stingers also shooting very close to my field point. So I haven't yet decided. I leave for Nevada 2 weeks from yesterday. So I guess I better figure out which one I'm going with. We'll see, I guess. Randy, what's your arrow weight? Well, if you put this arrow together, and someone also asked me about lighted nocks. They're now legal in Montana. I've been shooting this one. I don't really know. I've never used them before. They weren't legal until this year. but I think I'm going to try it just because I want to see where my arrow goes. I don't know. It's certainly controversial in some states. Some states have had them legal forever, and they're like, what's the big deal? But, total arrow weight. This arrow is just under 28 inches long. If I remember right, it's 9.5 grains per inch, and I have a 125 grain head. When you take the knock, the fletchings, the insert, add all that, I'm running about 455 grains on this arrow. Pretty much on all my arrows.
Someone just asked a question related to that. Do you make any changes from your arrow from deer to elk?
Do I change my arrows based on deer versus elk versus whatever? Nope. You'll see when we've done antelope hunts, I'm still shooting these big Magnus 125 grain stingers. I don't know. I just, once something's working, I want to stick with it through the whole season. And the same goes for my rifles. A lot of people say, well, Randy, you shoot a 308. Do you change from 165 grain when you're elk hunting? Do you go down to 150 grain for deer? Nope. Shoot the same thing. Same with my 7mm 08. Shoot 140 grain AccuBond, no matter what. So, you got more, Marcus?
There's been 2 questions about, do you take any precautions with rattlesnakes?
Rattlesnakes. Yeah, that's funny that so many people ask that, and now I'm going to get bit this year, being I say, no, I really don't. I can guarantee you when we go to Nevada in 2 weeks, we'll run into rattlesnakes. I don't think I've ever been on an early mule deer hunt there where I haven't ran into rattlesnakes. And I have this, I'm sure it's not correct, but it's the principle I go by. I believe in snake karma. I leave them alone when I find them, and I hope that someday when I surprise one, they'll leave me alone. May not work that way, and but especially when you're hunting in August and September, you'll see your share of rattlesnakes in the West. Don't fret about it. Don't worry about it. It's just part of the landscape. They don't want to have any problems any more than you want to have problems. So, I know. Maybe I should worry about it, but I don't. Got any more?
We've probably already visited this before, but asked or said that there's a fire burning through their elk hunting area right now. Do you think that it'll be okay by elk season?
Oh, the question is, there's a fire burning through their elk hunting area right now. Will it be okay by elk season? That depends. It's August. If you get some moisture in there in the monsoon season of August and September, you might get some short little green sprouts that come in after that fire is out. They may not be back up by September. It might be October before that starts regenerating. But areas right on the edge of that fire have a very good likelihood that there are going to be elk there. I usually don't hunt a burn that first that year of the burn. I usually hunt them for years after. And a lot of people ask, well, for how many years after? A little bit of that depends. If there's a fresh burn somewhere else, so let's say we have a 2-year-old burn and a 10-year-old burn, I'm leaving the 10-year-old burn and I'm going to a 2-year-old burn. If the only burn there is the 10-year-old burn, I'm still hunting that 10-year-old burn until a newer burn comes around. So there's really no answer to it other than hunt the newest burn you can for the most part. So, let's see. What weight is your merino base layer, and do you have multiple weights based on the season? No, I don't. Right here. This is Sitka's merino zip tee. This is what I wear year round, and then I build on top of that. They have their Traverse zip tee, mid-weight, lightweight, heavyweight. I will layer on top of this, and I wish I could tell you what weight it is, but I don't know. Sitka only has one weight of merino. Okay, you got anything, Marcus?
Do you have any advice for spot and stock whitetails?
Spot and stock whitetails. Oh, let's see. I just, we got done editing the episode where Marcus and I were in Arizona. Does a cows/coos deer count as a whitetail? I have done a lot of spot and stock for whitetails before, but for me, a whitetails are just a really hard animal to spot and stock on. Usually they're not going to go bed out in the open like a mule deer might. They're going to be in thicker stuff, and it's usually noisier with limbs and brush and stuff. So I wish I had some tips, but I've never shot a whitetail spot and stock with a bow. Shot a lot of them with a rifle spot and stock, but never with a bow. So, let's see, Randy, you've said to scout the day. If you have a drainage you think the elk are in, how do you go to look for the sign? It isn't easy to glass without blowing the elk out of that drainage. If it's not easy to glass, I'm not going in there. I am not gonna. If I know elk are in there, I'm not going in there. If I feel like my odor, my scent is gonna mess it up. I like to scout the day before or 2 days before, and I like hunting areas that I can glass from afar. I know a lot of people think that because we see it in magazines or on TV shows that this classic big basin of dark timber is the place the elk hang out. They may, if they're driven there, they might hang out there for a short while, a week or 2 weeks if they have to, but that's not their preference. Their preference are broken areas where the landscape due to rocks, fires, avalanche chutes, whatever, deadfall, causes disruptions in the canopy. So I just don't hunt dark timber areas because I want to see places where the elk are at. So that's probably not the answer you're looking for, but it's the answer that I have today. I know you use Mystery Ranch packs. What the main reason you went with that pack and not another on the market is I bought my first Mystery Ranch pack, I think in 2006 or 7, and we started this operation in 2008. And I bought it because I broke about 3 other brands of packs, and I got tired of broken packs. So I went down, bought one, really liked it, bought another one, really liked it, and bought a third one. And finally they said, you know what, Randy, you're selling a lot of packs for us. Why don't you just come here and we'll give you one. You don't have to buy the next one. So they just work really good. They will compress. Here is one. This is fully loaded with a whole day full of junk, and I haven't done all I can to compress this, but they compress really tight. They can be compressed down to a very, very low profile day pack. And then when I need to, I can fit elk quarters between here and there in here. This thing can carry way, way bigger loads than anything than my body can carry. Let's put it that way. So, all right, Marcus, what do you got next here?
Once you sight in a rifle, how often do you practice shooting at longer distances?
I'm not sure what longer distances would mean, but I can just tell you how I do it. I go out to the range, I get my zero set at 100 yards. All my CDS dials, my custom dial system for Leupold, are 100 yards. I have a rangefinder. I make sure, all right, does my rangefinder also say that's 100 yards? And once I do that, I will shoot at our range out to the 400 meter area. There's a whole bank full of targets and a gong. I'll shoot out to there, but I only do that just because I want to know where my rifle's shooting out there. I try not to shoot those longer distances. And some would say, Randy, 400 meters, 440 some yards is not that far. Well, it's far enough. For me, hunting's about getting closer, and that's what I want to do, whether it's archery, whether it's rifle. But once I get it set in or dialed in, set to zero, I still shoot quite a bit, but I don't screw with it, mess with it. In fact, I would say most seasons, once I get sighted in August, I don't adjust anything through the whole season other than just my CDS dial for whatever the distance is. So, what else we got, Marcus?
Someone has a pretty specific question about hunting New Mexico in Unit 13.
Okay.
November 18th through the 22nd.
September 18th?
November.
Oh, so they got the late muzzleloader tag,
Yep.
which I like to try for.
They say around 8,600 feet at the top.
Okay.
Where do you think the elk would be this time of year?
8,600 feet. That's
At the top of it.
right. So they're hunting Unit 13 in New Mexico, which is like a lot of places in the Southwest. They're asking if it tops out at 8,600 feet, where are the elk going to be? You've heard me say it time and time again. This period, November, is late season hunting. Mature bulls on public land are in sanctuary mode. They're trying to get away from hunting pressure. So elevation isn't necessarily as much as it is, does that constitute a sanctuary? In other words, if there's a road going up to 8,600 feet, don't mess around there. You want to go to places that either distance or topography, ugly, nasty canyons or hills or mountains, keep people from going there. You're going to find these bulls in bachelor groups, probably groups of 3 to 6 or 7. And you're going to find them in places that when you look at it, you're like, man, there's got to be an easier place to get an elk than that. But that's probably the place you're going to find them. So, and the question was about Unit 13 in New Mexico, but that could be for a lot of places in Nevada, Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, all the late seasons there.
Next one. If you got an elk in the morning and the temps are in the mid 80s, would you still hang the meat in the shade or put it in an ice?
If it's in the mid 80s and we shot an elk, would I still hang it in the shade or would I put it in an ice chest? Is that the question? Or a cooler?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't put it in a cooler because that temperature of that meat in the core is hotter than 80 degrees. I'm going to go find some place with shade and wind wind will get that heat out of there faster than anything. I'm going to let it hang all day in the shade and hang overnight because in the mountains here in the west, you're going to get temperatures at least down in the 50s in September, maybe down in the 40s. And if you got some wind blowing on that, the next morning you go and feel that, it's going to be very, very chilled. I would never put freshly killed meat in a cooler, no matter what. You think about a mass of a hind quarter that is this big, say 60 pounds of solid meat. Inside that quarter, it takes a long time for all that heat to dissipate. If you put it in a cooler, you're not giving it any breeze. As quick as that big mass is in there, the ambient temperature in the cooler gets hot, you're going to spoil meat if you do that. So let it hang, let the wind blow on it, get it in a cooler the next morning while the meat is at its coldest. So, let's see. Top 3 easiest mistakes made by elk hunters. Kyle. That's hard for me to answer because I've made so many mistakes. I can't tell you which would be the top 3. I'd say if I had to say it, it would be not knowing the habits of elk. If you don't know the habits, you're not going to know what they need at that time of year. And if you don't know what they need, you're not going to be able to find them. The other would be not giving the wind enough credit. The third one is probably mental. I think the mistake is they think it's going to be easy. They've seen on TV or they've seen whatever, or they've talked to someone else and they think public land elk hunting is easy. I would say go out to our YouTube channel and watch the 9-day hunt that myself and Corey Jacobson did in New Mexico last year. That's more of the norm of what public land elk hunting is. So that requires a mental mindset that this is going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. I'm going to have frustrations. There's days I'm going to want to quit, but I'm not going to quit. And sooner or later, you'll be successful. Those would be my top 3. All right, Marcus, what do you got?
One that says, Randy, from watching your videos, I know you're an antelope junkie, but why don't we hear you talking about hunting antelope in Montana very much?
Because I can't ever draw a tag. You're going to laugh at this. I have drawn more antelope tags in New Mexico in the last 8 years than I have in Montana. I've drawn 2 in Montana, one of them being this year. So just this week, was it Monday, I think, we found out about Montana antelope draw results. And I finally drew. So there's a good chance that you'll get to see a Montana rifle antelope hunt. But if you saw our calendar, you'd say, Randy, how are you going to fit a Montana rifle antelope hunt in there? Marcus and Michael are both here, and I'm sure they're looking at the calendar saying, does this guy want us to have a marriage of any sort this year, or is he just thinking we want to be away from our wives as much as his wife wants to be away from him? So, which gets to a question someone else asked. I don't need to get too far into marital advice here. If you listen to my podcast, you get enough marital advice, but one of them was, what is it? A question about my wife. Oh, does your wife have a fun hobby she enjoys while you're out hunting in the fall? My wife is a sewing, quilting nut. If you go to that house over there, it looks like a sewing and quilting store. So I'm glad that she loves doing it. She's just happy as can be doing it. So it works out for us. But someone else also asked, what is it about, when's the new Onyx Maps update coming out? It launched on Monday, both the app for your phone, and now you can update your chips on your PC. So the whole works is live and ready, and there are some cool layers on it. Yesterday, Marcus and I, was it yesterday, Marcus, we filmed those videos? So we're going to be doing some YouTube segments on that. about the new layers. And for you who are watching, if you want to save 20%, use the promo code RANDY, R-A-N-D-Y, on any of the apps, the smartphone apps, and you're going to save yourself some money.
Do you hunt grouse during rifle season, and if so, what do you shoot them with?
Do I hunt grouse during rifle season? I assume they're talking about during rifle elk season.
Yeah.
I shoot them with, I always carry a 20 gauge or 410 shotgun in my truck. Unfortunately, when I'm hiking and I got to rifle the grouse, I get a pass. Kind of annoys me. There's times I think I should be bringing, they have like a handgun that's 410. Maybe I should start bringing that along. But usually what I've found is that the places I'm hunting elk in the later season, I don't see that many blue grouse. And I see even fewer rough grouse. So it's mostly a September, early October thing for me.
So this one is, how would you locate a private landowner's phone number if you needed access to retrieve an elk?
What I would do is I'd go and get the Onyx map system, and in just about all counties, not every county in the U.S. makes landowner information public. So like Catron County, New Mexico, they don't publish land ownership information, but just about every other county does. So I'd get my Onyx system. I'd say, oh, okay, like right here, if you wanted to know who owns this piece of ground and you had Onyx maps, you'd drill down and it'd tell you, oh, guess what? Randall and Kimberly Newberg own this piece of land. It says right here. And you could Google them. And because I'm old school and I still have a landline, you'd find me in the phone book. If they aren't listed or whatever, it's going to be hard. It takes a little bit of research. Sometimes you can Google someone's name and the location and it will pop up, but very seldom does the data, they call it cadastral data, which is what states or counties publish that you get ownership information from. Very seldom does that include a phone number. So, oh, Jeff, how many 65 quart coolers do you use to transport a boned out bull? Right here you see I've got 265 quarts. Usually I try to do it with about 4 of them, and it just depends on how much ice I want to put on top, what the temperature. If I'm hunting late in the year, I don't mind just stacking it full of meat. If I'm hunting early in the year, say September, I bring more coolers so I can make more ice. I can fit more ice per pound of meat that's in here. So it depends, but usually I try to get it in 4, and that's usually in the early season. Later season, I can usually squeeze it into 3 if I trim it up real good. So
here's one. When you have a bull coming in, how do you know where to set up or how to decide where the bull is going to come out of the thick brush into a shooting lane?
So I'm assuming this is an archery season question because you're going to set up and he's coming to you. If the wind is blowing from the camera to me, well, and let's say that the elk is out there, you're set up where you want to be. You just want to make sure you pick your shooting lanes because he's coming downwind, in other words, towards you. Now, let's assume that the bull was over here and the wind is still coming this way. Most times, a bull is going to come and he's going to try to get downwind of you. So you want your shooting lanes to be over that way. Sometimes, if you call from here and you know he's coming, if you can move further downwind, he'll be looking to the last spot you called, and you might be over there 20 yards. So when he circles downwind to come to you, he's looking this direction where I'm at, and I've already moved over there 20 yards. Now I've got a shot. And it's just about selecting your shot angles or your shooting lanes. Don't set up behind a tree because you're not going to have any shooting windows. Get in front of a tree. Always get in the shade if it's sunny. Yeah, so if the sun's over here and it's casting a shadow on this side of a tree, be on this side of a tree. Don't be on that side. If you want to get spotted, be out in the sun. You're going to get locked in. I don't care what camo, what you do, it doesn't matter. If you're in the sun, they're just going to see you. So think about that when you're doing your setup. There's not one right answer to it. It depends on wind direction. It depends on where the sun is. Make sure you have shooting lanes, stay in the shade, and try to anticipate to get downwind of where the bull's going to come, because he's going to circle downwind. So, got more, Marcus?
Yep. What tactic would you use if you only have the weekends to hunt?
What tactic would I use if I only had weekends to hunt? That used to be my life until I started this TV show, and I guess I used to hunt a lot even on the TV show, but a lot of times it was, as they call, the weekend warrior. And for me, I would go to the trailhead Friday after work, and I'd repeat that process Sunday, and I'd hunt until Sunday night, walk out in the dark and know that I got a long drive home and I'm probably going to be tired at work on Monday morning. But I wouldn't give up. I wouldn't go back to camp and give it up for the afternoon. I would hunt all day long. In archery season, I would do the same kind of thing, but I would be out hiking and calling in the dark. Sometimes I'd even be driving Forest Service roads calling in the dark. I want to locate as many bulls as I can in the dark in archery season, and I'm marking them on my GPS. And about, I don't know, half hour before legal shooting light, I'm like, all right, where were most of the responses? That's where I go. Simple, but it works for me sometimes. What do we got?
If you could only have one or the other, would you choose Dairy Queen or grouse hunting?
Oh, Dairy Queen or grouse hunting? I'd go grouse hunting. I know that's probably going to get me in trouble here. Someone gave me another Dairy Queen card. Look at that. I got a stack of Dairy Queen cards in my truck about that thick. And the camera guys are like, yeah, we're about ready to hit the road. That's a funny question, but I'd probably take a grouse over a Dairy Queen. Nothing personal. I just have that problem with grouse. So, let's see. How do I schedule putting in for different tags all around the country? It requires a budget. It requires some strategy, and we've done tons of videos on this. There's a video out on our YouTube channel called Hunt Elk Every Year. We talk about all this as a strategy standpoint, what states you should look at, what states are the least expensive from an upfront investment, which states are the best states to build points in. So if you can, go out to YouTube and look up the video, Randy Newberg, Hunt Elk Every Year, I think it's the name of it. And that'll answer that question. So again, if you want to be notified about everything and with the upcoming prizes, make sure you text Randy, R-A-N-D-Y, to 313131. If you're in Canada, it's 393939. And please be sharing this, because when you think about Bowtech, Leupold, Ripcord, Tight Spot, Black Gold, Elk Foundation, they are making all this possible. It's not costing anyone anything to be part of this. They just want more elk information out there, and I'm trying my best to provide it. I can't say all my answers are correct. They're just based on 25 years of making a lot of mistakes. So, what do we got, Marcus?
Another burn-related question. Colorado over-the-counter archery in mid-September. There's a burn from 2013.
Yep. So Colorado over-the-counter archery mid-September. There's a burn from 2013.
Is it likely to be a hot spot?
Yes.
Should I? Let's see. Where I should find cows and bulls.
Is it likely to be a hot spot where I'll find bulls and cows during the rut? Yes, it is, because if you go to our 5 calendar periods of elk hunting, early season, pre-rut, peak rut, post-rut, and late season, mid-September, you're talking about probably peak rut. Where do you find bulls? You find them where the cows are. Where do you find the cows? Wherever the best food is, and the best food is going to be where the burns are. So, yeah, hunt all of, especially a 3-4-year-old burn like that, hunt it. There's going to be cows nearby. So, let's see. My Nevada elk hunt starts August 16th. What's your recommended strategy? What I would do is I would go August 16th, and I would find where those bulls are, because they're going to be bedded. They're still not going to be with the cows, and your chance of spotting, stalking, and killing a bull is really good. Once they go in bed for the day, they're going to be in one spot until the sun arcs. Then they're going to get up and they're going to move a little bit, and they're going to stay there through midday. And as the sun gets over, then they're going to get up out of their beds. The thermals are going to be very consistent. You can get pretty close to an elk that's bedded, and that would be a chance to kill one of these bulls without having to try fool the nose and the eyes of all these cows and calves that you're going to have to deal with during the rut. So don't overlook it just because it starts early.
Someone was asking, do you know why lighted knocks are illegal in some states?
I don't know why. I can tell you why they were illegal in Montana. Montana got tired, the Fish and Game Commission got tired of always dealing with technology issues when it came to archery. So the Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks Commission said, we are going to adopt whatever the Pope and Young has for allowed technology of entries into their record book. Well, a year prior, Pope and Young said, we will accept entries with lighted knocks. So that's why Montana did it. Why the other states do or don't allow it, I'm not that familiar with the other states. It's probably something to do with history, probably something to do with personal preferences. Hard to say, but how would you talk your buddy into putting down the rifle and start bow hunting elk? Take him out in the woods and let an elk bugle in his face. He will grab a bow every chance he gets. That's the easiest way I know to do it. It is unbelievable. The whole woods vibrates. What you see and hear on TV or on video does no justice to what the entire experience is of a bugling bull elk. So, we got another one, Marcus?
Yeah.
Where are we running here? Oh, we're good.
Walking into a glassing area in the early morning, do you worry about bumping elk?
Walking into a glassing area early in the morning, do I worry about bumping elk? I do to some degree, but usually I know how to get in there. If you've seen my day-by-day planning video, usually I try to have walked into an area the evening before and I've marked the tracks on my GPS or on my Onyx smartphone app. So that night, when I'm on my way out, I'm taking the best trail that I think I want in the morning based on what I think the wind's going to be doing. So that way I can go in the morning and take a route that is the least likely, not saying it always is foolproof, but the least likely that I'm going to bump elk due to them hearing me, seeing me, or smelling me. Doesn't always work, but most of the times it does. And I mean, you'll hear if you bump them, it'll sound like a herd of cattle running out of there in front of you. So, okay. During archery, will you glass all day long? No. In archery season, I hardly ever glass at all. In archery season, I'm more reliant on my binoculars than I am my spotting scope. Archery season, the bulls are moving looking for cows. I'm moving looking for bulls. I don't spend that much time glassing in archery season. We got another one?
Someone asked or said that they are going on a solo elk hunt in Montana. And
Solo elk hunt in Montana.
And they're wondering if you're quartering an elk at night, do you make a bunch of noise or would you be quiet while processing the animal?
So at night, if you're solo hunting in Montana, archery season, you have an elk at night that you got on the ground, you make a lot of noise. I make however much noise it takes to get the elk taken care of. My dad's theory was if you're doing something strenuous, if you cuss a little bit, it works better. I'm afraid at times I inherited that habit. But no, I don't worry about it. I think the person's probably referring to maybe grizzly bears, maybe mountain lions, maybe wolves. I've never worried about it. Maybe I should. Again, just like with the rattlesnake thing, if I shoot a bull in Montana this year and I'm processing it and I get eaten by a grizzly bear, someone's going to say, Newberg, you should have taken some precautions and made a lot of noise. But I really don't worry about it. What's your favorite, let's see, do you use any other type of ammo for elk other than lead? Yeah, Nosler makes an E-tip bullet, and you've seen some of the elk we've killed on this show. Let's see, that one right there with the broken horn is an E-tip, that one is an E-tip, and the one right there. So there's 3 of them that are with E-tip bullets that are non-lead bullet from Nosler. So, yep, I've used that. You got another one, Marcus?
There's a lot.
Someone asked, what is my favorite late season Sitka jacket? It's a Jetstream jacket. It's my elk uniform. My Timberline pants and my Jetstream jacket layered up according to temperature and activity level is pretty much what I wear that every day. So Man, there's a lot of them here. I'm sorry I'm not getting to all these, folks. Do I? Oh, no, I don't have the answer to that. Someone. Oh, Portland Q&A information. I think what this person's referring to is next Thursday, August 10th, I'm going to be in Portland, Oregon with the Backcountry Hunters and Anglers doing a pint night at the Base Camp Brewery. I think we go from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. So if you're in the Portland area, I hope to see you there. I'm going to be telling big stories and probably have no information other than just stories. But
someone asks, is it doable to pack out an elk by yourself in Nevada? It's a Nevada muzzleloader tag, and it's going to be fairly warm.
Is it doable to pack an elk out by yourself in a Nevada muzzleloader season when it's fairly warm? Yeah, it is. If I was you, I'd bring a buddy. If you can't get a buddy to go with you, I'd want to make sure I have good plans on how I'm going to take care of that elk, because it could spoil if it's really warm and you're way, way back in there. I've had situations where we've had to pack elk meat all night long just to get it to the place that we want it to be, and it wears you out hauling heavy loads over long, long distances. When you feel you might have to do that, have either spare batteries or a spare headlamp, have trekking poles, and you'll get it done. Don't let the elk spoil. I mean, that's what we're doing here, is hunting for food. Last thing we want to do is something that allows the elk to spoil. So I think are we getting close to the end? Oh, the battery guys are like, hurry up, hurry up. So what do we got?
This person is seeking an elk meat hunt.
Elk meat hunt.
They did not draw a tag, and they're not worried about horns.
Okay.
What hunt would you suggest?
Does it say where they live?
It doesn't.
Okay. Colorado just posted their leftover elk tags for cows and some bull tags. There's a crazy number of leftover cow tags in Colorado right now. I think Wyoming even has some leftover cow tags right now. Those are the places I'd go. It's hard to beat Colorado if you're just saying, hey, I want some elk meat, go do it. It's one of the least expensive states to do it, and they have more opportunity, and they got 23 million acres of Forest Service and BLM land. So good place to go. Oh, let's see. What kind of watch do you wear? This is a Sunto. They sent it to me. That's what I wear. I have it on lock mode. I figured out what features I wanted, and you can lock it. Otherwise, I was having all kinds of stuff come up, and I couldn't figure out how to use half of the features. So, last one, Marcus. What is it?
This person has hunted an archery unit for 20 plus years that has an ever-growing wolf population. They notice the elk bugle less each year. What are your thoughts and tactics in a high wolf population area?
Person has hunted the same area for 20 years, archery hunting. They've noticed that higher wolf population, less bugling. What's the tactic? Is that what it says? Okay. You just got to continue to hunt the way you probably have. The wolves, if there's one thing I have noticed, even if all the surveys say that the numbers are still the same in some units, where you find them and what their behaviors are different than they probably were before wolves. I mean, right here south of my house, that's the hotbed. The Yellowstone Park is just that way about, I don't know, as a crow flies, 60 miles. It has made a difference in some areas. I can't say that I've noticed a huge difference like this person is explaining, so I wish I could answer the question and say, well, you got to do this and you got to do that. I really don't know the answer to that, other than probably got to hunt a little harder. Try to observe what the elk are doing. Why have they changed? Yeah, they got a little quieter, but they probably are still going to respond to calls. They're probably going to leave other sign. There are going to be other things you can focus on that hopefully will help. But yeah, wolves have an impact, but they're not the end of the world. Make sure and go and hunt. And go hunt wolves if you're allowed to. You've seen us do it on our shows. We've posted a wolf hunt out on our YouTube channel, and you'll get some love letters if you post it out on a YouTube channel. I can promise you that. Last one, Marcus. We always tell them last one, and then we take one more, but this will be the last one.
All right. Someone asked, what other states do you have the best draw odds and quality units?
what other states have the best draw odds and quality units. I think the greatest mix between quality of elk hunting and draw odds is in Wyoming. And if you're a rifle hunter, I think you could possibly say that Arizona, their late rifle hunts are in that mix. You could also maybe say that for the few number of points you need for some of the Colorado units, maybe that would be in there. But Wyoming would be my first choice for the mix of quality hunt and reasonable draw odds as a non-resident. So anyhow, folks, thanks for watching. Thanks to Bowtech and Leupold and Ripcord and Tight Spot and Black Gold and the Elk Foundation for making this possible. And get ready, because we're going to have something really cool, and maybe not next week, probably the following week or the week after, that you're going to want to be part of. And to be in on it and to be notified of this, text Randy to 313131. Thanks a lot. Get ready. Elk season is not far away. In fact, in some states, elk season is only about 10, 12 days away. Hunt safe. Have fun. You never tell me if we're off or on, Michael. What's the deal here?
I'm working on it.